what's the type of fight?
What's the type of
fight? They're both at the top level, and they both have like their strengths and weaknesses and stuff, and they're different fighters. So they both have, they're both very challenging. They're at the top level, but they have to prepare for them differently. Like Tyson Fury, taller, can switch, long range, very skillful. And and then Usyk as well, the smaller guy, the southpaw, and like how technically good he is. They're both really tough fighters to fight. Like technically, I think Fury can bang a bit more than Usyk, but Usyk is quicker and got snappy punches. But then again, Fury's fast as well, and can put the combinations together. And they're both really tough. Top level.
They're all great fights.
Yeah, great fights.
Those are the words of Joe Joyce as he was asked, who is the tougher fight for him, Oleksandr Usyk or Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury? And he started breaking down on, in his own charismatic way, I think, it was Tyson's taller, But I mean, he did, and you could tell Joe Joyce, honestly, is a kind of fighter that he's a type of guy you could see him breaking things down as he's talking, because he kind of rumbles, he mumbles his words out, but then you could tell he's thinking as well as, while he's speaking, he's thinking things out well, one's taller, Tyson's taller, switch hitter, longer reach. He's just, sometimes you can tell how a person talks on how they think. Sometimes people have to talk themselves through things. You know what I mean? It's just like kind of like a, maybe a habit or a process on how they deal with, certain things, thinking. And you could tell Joe Joyce was breaking it down. And he said, they're both top fighters. They're both top quality fighters, but they're two different fighters. And that's what I wanted to, that's what stuck out at me. And I wanted to tell everybody about how Joyce, and I wanted to agree with Joyce, Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury, they don't fight alike. And he's fought Oleksandr Usyk. I'm not sure if I think he might have sparred Tyson Fury, maybe, but he's definitely fought Oleksandr Usyk, and he knew, he's shorter, but he is a guy that, like he admitted, like, hey, his punches are snappier. Simply because he's quicker. It seems like, he's a southpaw. So the way he throws those punches, Tyson can bang a little bit. So more than likely, his punches are heavier. Then again, and I'm assuming that he's been in the ring with him and tasted the power of Tyson. But, both very technical, but then Tyson, is a banger because, Tyson likes to rip body shots. And now looking at Tyson Fury and Joe Joyce, if Joe Joyce is able to take punches from guys like Joseph Parker, how do you rate Joseph Parker's punching power to someone like Tyson Fury's punching power? Because you have Tyson, he took out one of the biggest punchers, but you don't have to be one of the biggest punchers to take out a big puncher. Because the big puncher doesn't have to have the best chin in the world either, So he took out Wilder. But that doesn't mean he's just one knockout puncher. And we all knew about Dillian White, so that's not a good example, right? So him saying that, it was kind of basically even how Joe Joyce was breaking down the two, just totally two different fighters all the way through. Bars. And, I would look forward to it. It's good for Joe. I'm glad that Joe was able to win. Why? Because Joe has not been where Joseph Parker's been. Let's just face it. He's 37 years old. So he's 3 or 4 years older than Joseph Parker. I think Joseph Parker's 32, 33? He's still young. He's still relatively young. So, Joe Joyce needs this opportunity, because pretty soon in a year or so, he's going to be up there with like Zilly Zhang. He's just hasn't, this is his 15th fight, and I think 13th stoppage, something like that. So, he needed that. I think he needed that opportunity. Matter of fact, Joseph Parker's 30 years old. He's young. I mean, young. He can afford to take a loss and come back. But understand, he was already the WBO heavyweight champion of the world. That's something David Tua couldn't even do. He did some, intercontinental, championships and stuff like that. And yeah, but he wasn't on a world level. Tua was one of the hardest punchers around, just like Ernie Shavers was. But doesn't mean they were legitimate world champions, because they weren't. It's just the difference in Ernie Shavers' world and David Tua's world. You had a lot of like different belts running around. Not saying Ernie Shavers didn't have any accomplishments. What I'm saying is never world champion, neither of them. Okay, so, but Joe Joyce breaks down the Usyk Fury fight. I would call it 50%, based on how he compared those two and, talked about their strengths and weaknesses, which he really didn't mention the weaknesses. So, that's a whole nother story. I guess that's another interview for someone else to make, But all eyes are on Joe, the juggernaut Joyce. You guys tell me what you think of Triple J breaking down who is tougher between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!